Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone. So today, me, Hidayah and Zul, we're going to present on the COVID-19 and the changing money laundering and terrorist financing risk landscape. Remarks by David Lewis at the MENA Red Tag Virtual Executive Boardroom on 18 January 2021. So MENA here stands for Middle East and North Africa, and RedTech stands for Regulatory Technology, where it is a new technology that use information technology to enhance regulatory processes. So basically we took this article in the FATF website. Okay, before we proceed with the content of this article, let's get to know more about FATF. FATF stands for Financial Action Task Force. It was founded in the year 1989 by the Group of Seven. FATF is the global money laundering and terrorist financing watchdog. FATF is actually the intergovernmental body that sets international standards that aim to prevent illegal activities and the harm they cause to society. So basically, they are the policy making body. What FATF do? So basically, as I mentioned just now, they are a policy maker. So what they do is they set standards and promote effective implementation of legal, regulatory and operational measures for combating money laundering, terrorist financing and other related threats to the integrity of the international financial system. So basically their main task is they develop policies. Okay, so this topic that we are presenting is actually from one of the articles shared by the FATF Executive Secretary in their website about the MENA perspective on the changing money laundering and terrorist financing risk landscape. So the main message is that pandemic has been and should be a catalyst for the adoption of RegTech, regulatory technology, and more efficient and effective anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financing measures. So, as we all know, many people in many countries around the world are now facing and is fighting with the spread of the coronavirus. So this actually give the opportunity to the criminals to commit more crimes, and it increase the money laundering and terrorist financing risk. The money laundering and terrorist financing risks that have emerged and resilience of the national regimes to combat them are vary significantly from country to country. This is partially due to different approaches to social distancing measures and available infrastructures in uh, these countries. So, however, one thing that is consistent uh, that is the same for every country is the criminal threat. So, in May, FATF has published its first report on the impact of COVID-19 in the global money laundering and terrorist financing landscape. They have gathered examples of criminals profiting from the pandemic. These include fraudulent access to and diversion of government aid, to the impersonation of government officials, fake fundraising campaigns, and counterfeiting of medical supplies and now vaccines. This shows that since this pandemic, criminals um, has become more active, and they find the new way to actually commit the crimes. And the criminal also have used the sharp increase in online activity to develop targeted malware campaigns, ransomware, or phishing attack with fake links to government stimulus package, infected red mates, and websites selling personal protection supplies. So, as we all know, during this pandemic, we do many things online. So, this also, and many people are affected. So, this also become one of the has become one of the opportunity for the criminals to commit the crimes. And lastly, the pandemic also has resulted in an increase in human trafficking and exploitation of workers. And most disturbing of all, with children unable to attend school, um, school are closed during this pandemic, so they are unable to attend the school. So many children actually spend their time online. So the members has reported a rise in online child exploitation. Okay, so how has the pandemic changed the way criminals are laundering their money? Banks, financial institutions, and non-financial businesses and professions have moved interaction with customers online. So many businesses, even many activities today we do online, right? So with limited in-person contact, is impacting customers' identification procedures, and criminals are quick to exploit these changes in internal control to bypass customer due diligence. So this shows that with these many things online nowadays, it give the opportunity to the criminals to to commit crimes. Okay, so next, the pandemic has also left many businesses and individuals in financial need. As we all know, this pandemic has many people affected from this. There are many business need to close their business. Many people, many individuals lose their job. So they make easy targets for criminals who may exploit them to take part in money laundering activity. Um, for example, by using a failing but legitimate business as a front for illegal activity. And the economic volatility has resulted in a number of other money laundering vulnerabilities, such as an increase in unregulated financial services and insider trading from the large shift in value due to the pandemic. Uh, there are also cases of misuse of virtual asset in COVID-19. Okay, so this is a very sad, because when imagine when you lose your job and you have no money, no income to continue to continue your life. You need to pay a lot of things, the bills, the house, food, and all that. So you have uh many family members that you need to uh take care of. So um like, I think, of course, there's people when someone offer you uh and ask you offer you and um to join them to do money laundering activity or any other illegal activity. Of course, um you will say yes, because you need money, right? So this is very sad. And it uh this is how the criminals um are getting more profitable from this pandemic.
Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone, especially to Madam Shakirin and fellow friends. Next, I'm going to present on what should country do and what exactly FATF is doing. As we know, money laundering and terrorist financing has increasing rapidly due to our COVID-19 pandemic, because nowadays we have to use online transaction instead of cash. But This is not a victimless crime such as drug gambling and so on. So that is why we have FATF in order to prevent all these illegal activities and the harm they cause to the society. First, every country should fully and effectively implement the FATF standard as it is powerful legal, law enforcement and operational tools for dealing with this threat, and more than 200 jurisdictions have committed to implement the standard. It is important because FATF standards lay out a comprehensive and consistent framework of measures that countries should put in place to counter money laundering, terrorist financing, and the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. Other reason is he set out essential measures which countries should have in place to identify potential risks, develop policy and coordinate domestically. The second one, pursue money laundering, terrorist financing, and the proliferation financing. Third one, adopt preventive measures in the financial sector and other selected sector. Fourth, establish authorities' power and responsibility as well as other institutional measures. Fifth, improve the transparency and availability of beneficial ownership information for legal entities and arrangements. And last one, facilitate international cooperation. So basically, the FATF standard have also been revised to strengthen the requirement for higher risk situation, which currently related to our current issue COVID-19. And this standard allows countries to take a more focused approach in areas which high risk remain or implementation could be enhanced. Countries should first identify, assess, and understand the risks of money laundering and terrorist financing that they face, and then try to adopt appropriate measures to mitigate the risk. Next, every country around the world have to create an effective regulatory mechanism to guarantee that financial sector is aware of the hazard of money laundering and terrorism financing. The second one, suspicious transactions are reported. But however, many countries have established laws and regulations without focusing sufficiently on the actual result achieved, since they are only focusing on outputs rather than the outcome. Next, every country has to make sure that financial intelligence units have the resources to analyze and forward report to law enforcement for investigation. Countries should use the risk-based approach of the FATF standard to prevent money laundering and terrorist financing. And last one, every country has to increase cooperation, information sharing, and dialogue, which means if there is any information related to money laundering within or outside of the organization, they have to make complaint so that action could be taken. This COVID-19 pandemic, some people may take advantage to do this activity, take granted from other people money, and therefore there is always case of money laundering from time to time. So basically, FATF standard is a guideline which can be applied to everyone to prevent and overcome this money laundering and terrorist financing activities. Moving on what exactly FATF is doing. FATF priority is to explore the opportunities that digital transformation brings to fighting money laundering, including to onboard customer or detect criminal activities. And their main focus area is divided into three, which is the first one, identifying the opportunities and challenge of this new technology for the private sector, supervisor and regulators. Second one, exploring the potential for data pooling, analyze and the real and perceived barriers. And last but not least, helping to accelerate digital transformation for operational agency. Changes in customer behavior has turbocharged online transaction with growing numbers of online payment in nearly every sector. Therefore, we have to make a better use of technology in order to make us more effective and efficient in raiding out criminal activity. The use of new technology does not replace human intervention and judgment, but it liberates and improves it. Next, FATF is developing guidance to help supervisors better access the risks that the private sector face and continuing to monitor the development in the virtual asset sector. Well, in July 2020, FATF has reported to the G20 on so-called stablecoin, that which raised their concern due to their potential for mass adoption. FATF clarified how its standard apply to address all those risks they pose, and they conduct a 12-month review of the implementation of the revised standard on virtual asset. Next, FATF issue report on virtual asset which will help authorities to detect whether virtual assets are being used for criminal activity or not. And this report are focused on 6 areas, which is first one, technological features that increase anonymity, such as the use of peer-to-peer exchange website, mixing or tumbling service, or anonymity-enhanced cryptocurrency. Second one, geographical risk, which means criminal can exploit countries with weak or absent national measure for virtual asset. Third one, transaction patterns, which mean any irregular, unusual, or uncommon thing which can suggest to criminal activity. And fourth one, transaction size, which means if the amount and frequency has no logical business explanation. And the fifth, sender or recipient profiles, which mean unusual behavior can suggest to criminal activity. And last but not least, source of fund or wealth, which can be related to criminal activity. Well, this report will help virtual asset service provider, financial institution, and designated non-financial business and profession, and other reporting entities detect and report suspicious transaction. It also provides useful information for financial intelligence units, law enforcement agencies, prosecutors, and regulators, which to analyze suspicious transaction report or monitor compliance with anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financial control. The impact of the pandemic continue to evolve. Same goes to the changes in money laundering and terrorist financing activity, which will continue to evolve. The opportunity from this pandemic are not only for criminals. We need to exploit it to reform and turbocharge measure through the use of technology and the application of a smart, intelligent-led, and risk-based approach. And well, that's all from me. Thank you.
So that's all from us. Thank you.